Jai Hind everyone, I am Dr. Monika Agrawal. My subject is Technical Communication, KAS 301401. The topic of today's lecture is Technical Communication and difference between technical and general communication. The table of the content has the general concept of communication. First of all, we'll understand. Then, what do we mean by technical communication? Then, importance of technical communication and difference between general and technical communication. Our focus is going to be this in this lecture, that is difference between technical and general communication, because understanding the difference between these two categories of communication is the basis of actually practicing the technical communication when needed. This concept of communication is from a Latin word communis or communicare, the word which means to share something, means to make something common, means with the process of sharing something that is here is thought, feeling, information. So communication means to make facts, information, thoughts and requirement common. Therefore, the exchange of thought, messages, information, etc. by way of speech, verbal and non-verbal signals and through writing. Whichever mode we find suitable, we can select. But the purpose is for the exchange of information, we have to connect with the content and we have to give our efforts to make effective communication. This is the lifeline of human survival. Communication is the lifeline of human survival. We connect with the environment, we connect with people around us through communication. It is only through communication that every professional and every person fulfills his roles, his duties. So, communication is an important requirement of every profession and business also. A professional participates in the process of communication in many ways, through verbal and non-verbal means. So, to be a good professional, a person has to be competent enough to perform his duties with the help of effective technical communication. In a way, we can call it professional communication too. So, communication, if we look at the efforts of a person, we find that on the basis of the purpose of communication at that moment, there are two categories of communication: general communication and technical communication. This is what we have to understand, what we mean by technical communication, only with reference to comparing it and contrasting it and finding the difference between general type of communication and technical type of communication. So, coming to the main aspect of this lecture, what we mean by technical communication. As we know that technical means something related to science and technology or the practical use of machines and methodology in industry and in research. So, whenever we communicate with some specific content for some specific purpose in specific setting using specific technology and achieving a specific purpose, this becomes technical communication. So, sharing of information of this type, scientific, technological or some profession related, business related information is technical communication. So, technical communication is a means, it is used as a means to document or to convey scientific, engineering or other factual technical information. The focus is on sharing the factual technical information. So, it is usually about the functioning of the organization in which we are working, a professional is working, or about the products of that created by that company, produced by that company, or the services provided by the company. So, in a way, all communication by professionals during their professional job is done to fulfill their professional duties, and it becomes technical communication. We can call it TC, because every professional has to technically communicate the information among the other workers, the people working in that organization, including the customers also. Okay. So, a form of communication that focuses on technical or specialized topics communicates specifically by using technology or provides instruction on how to do something. Here I want to focus on the overarching goal of technical communication practice. Why we need to understand the technical communication, the features, how we can make our communication technical, because we have to create easily accessible information for a specific audience. We can take it as an overarching goal of technical communication that we have to create easily accessible information for a specific audience. So, this is what makes technical communication very important, and it is equally important and more important in the field of engineering as you are preparing for. It is used to impart information in the precise way. It is useful in enhancing interpersonal communication at the workplace, because it tells about how to communicate with people without causing confusion or miscommunication, right? It is used to create specific messages to a specific audience, because we have to keep in mind who is our audience. As we know that there are three major elements in the process of communication: the sender, the message, and the receiver. So, the interaction of these three elements creates the whole process of communication. So, we are able to create specific messages for specific audience to impart specific information in a precise way. It helps in inferring data from graphs, charts, and technical papers. It is not only the matter of creating messages, but also understanding messages. So, understanding technical communication helps in inferring data from the provided messages and information. It is used to prepare technical descriptions like product manuals, like user manuals, like instructions, and so many other types of documents like reports, proposals, and synopsis, and all research related documents are all technical type of documents. So, understanding technical communication helps in a clear and concise analysis of scientific or engineering results also. So, this is the importance of technical communication. Now, coming to specifically understanding what is that peculiar qualities, those qualities which make technical communication a truly effective technical communication. In this context, we have this term ABC of technical communication. This is an example of initialism. Here, this ABC, which in general usage is used as the fundamental or the principles, the basic principles of something. Here also it is the basic principle of technical communication. A stands for accuracy. Accuracy, it is not only of facts but also of language. So, whatever facts are being conveyed through our messages should be accurate, doubly checked, and the language which we are using should be error free. Next is brevity. Brevity, it is the quality of being brief. Brief expressions. While writing or speaking, our expression should not be lengthy, unnecessarily elaborate. We should give brief expression. And the third is C. C stands for clarity. It should be clear in thought as well as in expression. So, this is the clarity of thought as well as clarity of expression. So, these three basic features are ensured in technical communication in many ways. These are the guidelines that this is to be ensured doing technical communication. Whatever is the purpose, we should be accurate, we should be brief, and we should maintain clarity. Making it further clear, it is necessary to have a contrasting idea of technical communication with general communication. So, if we put technical communication and general communication side by side and compare and contrast, we can well understand what are the requiring features, what are the specific features of technical communication. It is what makes technical communication a truly effective technical communication. So, it is the exchange of scientific and technical information, no doubt, and it is the exchange between individuals. It may be two people, two persons, or between groups, two groups, more groups, right? So, for technical communication, we have to make careful selection of different processes and different systems. So, in the nutshell, technical communication becomes a set of systems which include all the methods, means, media, channel, networks, and system of communication used for exchange of information for specific purpose. So, what are these means and media and channel and network? The basic tool is language, and then comes style, and then comes finding the length, the proper length, and so many other things. This all is a part of encoding aspect of the process of communication. So, while encoding a message for the purpose of technical communication, we have to ascertain certain stylistic features, certain things we have to keep in mind and we have to maintain while encoding a message to be communicated, because we have to achieve specific purpose. On the other hand, general writing or general communication, this is non-technical, day-to-day living oriented communication. So, let us compare and contrast general and technical communication and try and understand what makes technical communication an effective communication. So, I have given a tabular form of this comparison. This side I have given the parameters. These are the parameters on the reference points on which we are going to check and find the specific features of technical and general communication. The very first parameter is the content, means the matter, the nature of the information. Okay. So, for technical communication, the information should be factual, based on facts, reality, the logical facts, the findings, the scientific or commercial information. It should be straightforward, means simply picking up the factual information, and this information should make the content of the message. Second is, on the next type of communication is general. We know that in general communication, we convey our feelings, our emotions. Sometimes we are cutting jokes, humor is the content. Sometimes we talk about imaginative things. Sometimes we just give a metaphoric expression. Sometimes we give symbols to express ourselves. So, this can be figurative, this can be imaginative, and this can be pertaining to our imagination. It is all created. Okay. So, it has a clear contrast. The content of technical communication is factual, whereas general communication deals about feelings, emotions, which are abstract and which change from person to person. The second parameter is the type of audience. Audience in general communication is maybe our family members, our friends, or some stranger, anyone. But if we talk about technical communication, the audience is specific, means the audience may be our seniors, the executives, the administrators, our colleagues, our subordinates, or our customers. So, this is the range, or this is the spectrum of the type of audience which is specific. So, every time we have to ascertain that who is going to be my audience every time. Now, the third parameter and the very important parameter is the purpose. we call it the objectives of communication. For technical communication, there are three basic objectives: to inform the audience, to instruct the audience, or to persuade. These are the three basic objectives or the purpose of technical communication. Either we have to communicate to just pass on the information, that is the basic, the very primary objective, just to pass on the information. The second is instruction, means that we not only to pass on the information but also help the audience to understand that information or to act accordingly, that is instruction. And the third one, and this is the highest objective and very difficult to achieve, is persuade, means to convince the other person, to convince the audience and to influence the choices of the other person. So this is the range of the objectives, the three basic primary objectives. On the other hand, general communication is done, sometime we want to show support to the other person, or sometime we want to show the animosity for the other person, sometime the emotional bonding or the emotional, you can say, disaster also. Sometime we just talk to entertain the other person, sometime to preach the other person. So this is how we show the type of human relationship we have with the other person. So the purpose of general communication is to fulfill the human relationship with the other person. The next parameter is style. Technical communication has formal style, means we have standard formats for creating documents. The standard formats which may be provided, which may be decided by earlier, okay, and this style is highly academic, means very polished, and we can use relevant visuals and graphics also. And in a way, these visuals and graphics are part of technical communication, because integral part of technical communication, all scientific technical information is provided the best through visuals, through graphs, charts, bars, tables, etc. On the other hand, we have general communication. This is informal. We don't always have a fixed format for presenting the idea or talking to the other person. So this doesn't have format. That is what is meant by being informal. It may be artistic. All the literary writing, all the literary expressions are artistic expressions. Figurative language is used, and there we do not use much technical term, but we have the freedom of imagination and format. Means we can change the format, we can have a very imaginative type of style of saying something. So this is not acceptable in technical communication. Now coming to vocabulary, technical communication is simple, uses simple familiar words, means the words which are going to be there to carry our message and to transmit our message to the audience should be simple and familiar. The peculiar thing is here the jargons, the use of jargons. Jargons are technical terms which are field specific. So every field of knowledge has its own jargons. So while doing technical communication, we have to use these jargons, and these jargons help to convey more meaning and in less words. On the other hand, technical, in contrast to the technical communication, in general communication, we have freedom of selection of words, we can create words, we can give an ornamental aspect to the word, it can be figurative, and even we can have certain expressions which have layers of meaning. Having layers of meaning is strictly prohibited in technical communication. Jargons have only one meaning. So we have to use those words and those jargons which have only one and specific meaning, that is one for all. So we can't have multiple interpretation of the same text in technical communication. Coming to the next parameter, that is approach. Technical communication, due to these other aspects, is objective, means pertaining to the fact, pertaining to the thing itself, the object itself. It doesn't change from person to person, it remains the same. And there is no element of personal bias or likes and dislikes accepted in technical communication. It should be highly logical and systematic. So this is the approach which is acceptable in technical communication, whereas in general communication we are subjective. The approach is subjective. We follow our own likes and dislikes. The approach is personal, and a person is more involved in general communication. So the approach is in a clear contrast of general communication and technical communication. The seventh parameter is organization. The organization in technical communication is sequential, and it should have a logical sequencing, a systematic sequencing. There should be familiarity, and this familiarity is ascertained with the use of simple familiar words, use of standard formats, use of graphics, visuals, etc. So this makes the organizations systematic and sequential. We can say that in technical communication, familiarity creates effect. The more familiar the content appears, the look appears, the style appears, it creates effect. On the other hand, in general writing or in general communication, it may be arbitrary. It depends upon the mood of the person, and it may be artistic, different from the other person, something unique, something strange, and here this strangeness creates effect. So this is again a clear contrast between technical communication and general communication. Next parameter, types of document. As we have already discussed, that in technical communication we have these proposals, user manuals, web pages, emails, reports, newsletters, thesis writing, synopsis writing, business letters writing. These are the types of expressions of technical communication, the documents a person has to prepare. On the other hand, general communication has such documents like personal letters, literature, daily life related notings, chats and conversation, etc. And speech, that is informal, that is full of emotions and feelings. Here also in technical communication we make presentation, that is the spoken part of technical communication. We speak in meetings, we speak in seminars, conferences. So here that type of expertise, that type of command and clarity is needed. The goal. What is the goal? Actually, technical communication is solution based, and this is to be understood very well, that technical communication is action oriented, means it contains certain instruction, it contains certain information and certain solution to a problem. So all type of technical communication, whether it is a report or proposal or some letter or some other type of document, some notice, some memo, whatever it is, it provides certain information which further facilitates the professional working, or which takes the professional towards a solution of the problem. On the other hand, general communication can create problems. It may not always be the solution of the problems, and it is mostly expression based. Okay, here we focus on discussion, on narration, okay, rather than solution and the results. So the goal is different. Okay, and we must keep in mind that what is the utility of technical communication. It is important, and students, please remember that technical communication is considered as a conduit between the people who know technology and the people who use it. So through technical communication, and for doing the job of specific job of a technical writer or a person who is responsible for creating technical documents, or in day-to-day working of a professional, this is the utility of technical communication, that it helps the other person understand some technical content. So it bridges the gap between the technology, the concept, and the people who are going to use that concept, use that information. On the other hand, general communication is a means to connect with all the people around as a human being. So here we focus more on being a human, and here we focus more on being a knowledgeable person, a person who is responsible for creating and who is responsible for finding the solution of problems. So I hope you understand this. And now coming to the example, through the help of these examples we can understand the technical communication. The very first sentence says there were many hundreds of people who were gathered there in the hall to watch the performance. If I ask you the question and you are there to answer, you will find that the information given through this sentence is quite vague, or you can say quite unnecessarily elaborated. So if I have to fill this bracket and I have to write this, so I don't find this is as technical, I find it as a general communication. Now the same information can be given in a technical way. There are approximately 400 people, or the number may be depends upon having a rough idea of the number of people there. We cannot say many hundreds, we have to give certain number to make it more factual. Okay, and we use the words audience and auditorium. These are the words which have a meaning. The whole sentence is made precise and condensed in this word. Audience means the many people there in the hall to watch the performance, and auditorium is the hall where the performance is being done. So this is called technical way of saying something. Another example we have, the two pieces of metal are not joined properly. This is a small expression, it's not very large, but it is quite vague. Okay, so this kind of expression can be taken, can be given by a person who is not technically strong, whereas a technical person will say the soldering is imperfect. So this is how you can find the difference between the type of expression, whether it is general or technical. Same information conveyed as general communication and general way of saying something and technical way of saying something. So I hope now you understand the difference between technical and general communication, and you have well understood the example, and now you are better at finding what makes technical communication technical communication. Thank you. Jai Hind.